The smiling flight attendant walks down the aisle with a tray, offering neatly wrapped sandwiches and small cups of soda. On the surface, it feels like a courtesy, an old tradition of American air travel kept alive in an era where passengers are nickel and dimed for everything else. The airlines call it complimentary, a little token of appreciation for choosing them. But behind the foil and plastic is a system of cost-cutting, outsourcing, marketing tricks, and food science that turns those so-called free meals into one of the most carefully engineered illusions in the entire travel industry. What U.S. airlines don't want you to know is that nothing on those trays is truly free. And the story of how it gets there reveals more about the business of flying than almost anything else. Airlines used to compete fiercely on food. In the golden age of aviation, meals were prepared by in-house kitchens, presented on porcelain plates and paired with wine lists. But deregulation, rising fuel prices, and a race to lower ticket costs gutted that model. Instead of cutting routes or seats, carriers quietly gutted the food budget. The promise of complimentary meals lingered, but what actually ended up on passengers' trays became a product of contracts, loopholes, and industrial food supply chains. What looks like a sandwich wrapped in wax paper is the result of dozens of negotiations between airline procurement teams and global catering giants. Every slice of cheese, every dollop of mayo, every cookie is measured not in taste, but in cents saved per passenger. The first thing most travelers don't realize is how rarely the food is actually made by the airline itself. The vast majority of meals come from catering contractors like Gate Gourmet, LSG Sky Chefs, or Flying Food Group. These are massive food factories that churn out tens of thousands of identical meals every day, stored in refrigerated trucks and loaded onto planes just hours before departure. Efficiency is everything. A sandwich that might cost $4 in a grocery store can be produced for less than 80 cents at scale. Airlines then market as complimentary, but have already factored the cost into your ticket. Nothing is free, you've already paid, but the meal you received is a stripped-down version designed to maximize airline profit. The second hidden truth is that the food is engineered to taste a certain way at altitude, not on the ground. At 35,000 feet, the low humidity and cabin pressurization dull your sense of taste and smell by up to 30%. Sweetness and saltiness don't register the same way. Airlines know this, and they lean on additives, sodium, and chemical flavor enhancers to make sure the food tastes normal. That's why airplane meals can seem oddly salty, or why snacks like pretzels and tomato juice are so common. They're among the few flavors that punch through dulled senses. What passengers think is generosity is really food science. Snacks chosen because they're cheap, shelf-stable, and still noticeable when your taste buds are half asleep. But beyond the flavor engineering, there's the matter of quality. Airlines will never advertise that their sandwiches and wraps often spend days, even weeks, frozen before reaching you. The logistics of airline catering demand long shelf lives. Turkey wraps, pasta salads, and muffins are frozen, shipped, thawed, and sometimes refrozen before they land on your tray. Freshness is an illusion maintained by packaging. That plastic container or foil seal isn't just for convenience. It's to make food look like it was just made, even if it was assembled in a factory kitchen thousands of miles away, long before your flight ever took off. The illusion of care hides a reality of mass production. Then there's the psychology. Airlines know that offering a free snack or meal has a powerful effect on passengers' perception of value. Even if the cost of the meal is hidden in the ticket, the act of being handed something tangible softens the sting of cramped seats and baggage fees. It's no accident that some carriers advertise free snacks on every flight like it's a gift. In reality, those snacks are chosen precisely because they're among the cheapest items possible to produce in bulk. A single packet of pretzels might cost the airline less than 5 cents. Multiply that by 100 passengers, and you're still looking at less than the price of a single checked bag fee. The gift of free food is a distraction from the real revenue model, charging you everywhere else. The financial calculus goes deeper. Airlines have mastered the art of using catering as a branding tool while keeping costs razor thin. A carrier might offer a signature cookie or a special sandwich to create an emotional association with their brand. Passengers remember the warm chocolate chip cookie served by one airline or the snack mix offered by another. But behind the scenes, those items are tested, sourced, and selected based not on indulgence, but on which supplier can lock in the lowest bid over years-long contracts. Your fond memory of a snack is the result of a marketing department calculating that a particular item would be cheaper in bulk while still being distinctive enough to make you feel cared for. What also goes unspoken is how airlines quietly use catering to balance their books. Food costs can be adjusted mid-year depending on financial performance. When oil prices spike or revenue drops, the food budget is one of the first things to shrink. That's why you might notice portion sizes getting smaller, cookies being replaced with crackers, or sandwiches swapping premium ingredients for cheaper alternatives. Every little downgrade saves millions when spread across thousands of flights per day. Airlines will never tell you this openly, but their catering menus are often rewritten, not by chefs, but by accountants. Even the logistics of handling waste reveal part of the illusion. Whatever food is not consumed on a flight cannot simply be reused or donated. Strict safety regulations mean leftover meals and snacks are usually destroyed. But here's the catch. Airlines don't want you to know how much of that complimentary food ends up in dumpsters. By overloading planes, they ensure that no passenger feels neglected. But at the same time, enormous amounts of perfectly edible food go to waste. That waste, built into the catering budget, becomes another hidden cost passengers cover indirectly. Then there's the matter of nutrition. The meals offered on board often look balanced, but they're designed primarily around calorie efficiency and shelf life. High salt, refined carbs, and processed proteins dominate because they're cheap and last longer. Fresh produce is rare, and when it is offered, it's usually heavily treated to extend shelf life. Airlines aren't investing in passenger health. They're making sure their food survives transit and satisfies the bare minimum expectations of flavor. The result is that what you eat on a plane may be filling, but it's rarely nourishing. The pandemic years accelerated these trends. To cut costs and simplify service, many U.S. airlines reduced their complimentary offerings to the bare minimum. Some eliminated hot meals entirely, replacing them with cold snack boxes that could be prepackaged and stored for long periods. Passengers were told this was for safety, but the deeper reason was efficiency and cost savings. Even as restrictions eased, many carriers quietly kept these pared-down services in place, pocketing the savings while advertising that meals had returned. What had once been a tray of hot food and multiple drink rounds became a snack box and a cup of water, but the word complimentary remained, cloaking the downgrade in the language of tradition. There is also the hidden supply chain that keeps these meals moving. Airlines rely on global catering companies that contract with massive food suppliers. Ingredients are sourced based on price and availability, not necessarily quality. That cheddar cheese slice may have been sourced from halfway around the world where dairy is cheaper. That bread roll may contain preservatives banned in other industries but allowed in aviation catering. The complexity of the supply chain means passengers have no real idea where their free food actually comes from, and airlines aren't eager to tell them. Passengers sometimes assume first-class or business-class meals are exempt from these pressures, but the same system applies. The portions are larger, the plating is fancier, and the menus are worded with culinary flair. But the sourcing remains the same. What feels like a luxury meal at altitude is still produced in a catering factory and reheated in a cramped galley. The illusion of exclusivity is stronger, but the underlying economics are identical. Ultimately, the biggest secret is that the free food isn't about generosity at all. It's about control. By offering food, airlines control the passenger experience from start to finish. You can't bring large amounts of your own food through security, and once on board, you're captive. That bag of pretzels or small sandwich is not a gift. It's part of the business model, a way to keep you contained, distracted, and slightly more satisfied than you would be otherwise. It's a transaction disguised as hospitality. Every bite of complimentary food is calculated. The portion size, the salt content, the packaging, the sourcing, all of it is designed to maximize profit, minimize waste, and create just enough goodwill to keep passengers loyal. What U.S. airlines don't want you to know is that the illusion of generosity is one of the last tools they have to make you feel valued without actually spending much money. The free food is never free. It's a carefully constructed performance, built on cost-cutting, marketing, and the psychology of keeping passengers just comfortable enough to forget how much they're paying for everything else.